Hey everyone, I am so glad that you are here with us today. I am so happy to be presenting Howard VanEs today. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Frances Caballo. I'm the owner of socialmediajustforwriters.com. It's a blog, and just happy to be here today with Howard. Hi, Howard.
Hi, Francis. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here too.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Howard, and this is what I have. Howard Allen VanEs is the founder of Let's Write Books, Inc., which is a full-service publishing company specializing in working with independent authors. Its mission is to help writers turn their manuscripts into books that they can be proud of and to meet the desired goals of each author they work with. Howard has 27 years of writing experience in every format imaginable, including writing 25 books of his own, as well as numerous books and information products for others. His firm provides the following services: book design and publishing, ebook formatting, editing, ghostwriting, audiobook creation, and book marketing. Well, welcome, Howard. My gosh, that's a lot that you guys do.
Well, thank you. That was a great intro. I think I'm going to need to hire you as my PR agent now.
So I'm wondering if the people who are here, because we have like a lot of people who registered for this webinar, and I know that you're just rolling in, but why don't you, if you have a chance, just write down where you're from, and then I'll be able to tell everyone the name of people here and where you're from. So why don't you start? I'm going to cue this up so I can see your answers. So where are you from, Howard?
Well, my corporate office is in Reno. I have a home in Antioch, California, and I'm originally from California. From Connecticut. What about yourself?
I'm originally from Monterey. I'm a California girl.
Right.
And I live in Sonoma County. So Jeff Jacobson's from Los Angeles. Peter DeHaan is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And everyone else is shy. Come on.
Hey, you know what? I have another idea. Is if you don't want to say where you're from, maybe you have a burning question about book launches that you could enter. What's the single most important thing you'd like to know about book launches? Just go ahead and type it in there.
Oh, yeah. Mike Sano, I'm so glad you're here today, Mike. I see you on Twitter all the time, and I love your stuff. And you're from Bristol, Connecticut. How cool is that?
There we go. Another Connecticut.
I am happy that Mike is here. See? Ah, you're welcome, Mike. Jill Johnson is from Westport. Westport what?
Connecticut?
Connecticut? I wouldn't know. Anyone else? So what did you ask me? What did you ask me, Howard?
I
I'm a
didn't
little
ask you.
distracted when I
We
do
got a
this.
little timed out on the technology, so I didn't ask you anything.
Oh, okay. Anybody else want to say where they're from? We have about 30 people here, so I guess people are just being shy. Okay, well, yes, Westport, Connecticut. All right. So I think the rest of, oh, and here's another one. Spain, Lucinda,
Wow.
Lucinda Clark,
Right.
bienvenida. And Leanne Garms is from Oceanside, California. I'm so happy to have someone from España. Steve Campbell is from Rohnert Park. Hey, that's just down the road from me.
I know, Steve.
And we have someone from Canada, our great neighbor to the north,
Right.
Kat Sundin. Oh, I'm so happy to have someone from Canada here. Oh, and Jill Johnson lived in Madrid for 5 years. Oh, I lived in Madrid for a year. That's better than nothing. And I vacation in Barcelona a lot. Barcelona. Well, maybe it's just it's slow. So
Should we start?
might as well start.
All right. So I'm going to take control now.
All right. Want me to give control over to you?
I've already done it.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm calling up a PowerPoint presentation. Do you see the PowerPoint presentation on your screen?
I do.
Okay. If you're on the webinar and you can see an orange screen that says Secrets of Successful Book Launches, could you just type in yes or no for us? so we know that this is working properly?
I see it. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, great, great. Okay, so I have some information on a PowerPoint slide, but Frances also has some questions for me, and we'll start with her questions that kind of coincide with my PowerPoint presentation. So Frances, you want to do your
We're going to try and make this a little interactive. And so we're going to start. I'm going to ask Howard now is about book launches, which is a very popular topic, and it's attracting quite a few people to our webinar today. I just want to start by defining a book launch. How exactly do you see a book launch?
Well, I think it's an important question because a book launch is the time when a book is brought into the world. Certainly you could have marketing activity later on in the lifespan of a book, but I really call a book launch the period of time when a book is brought into the world. It's the initial release of your book. It's a time when you're going to have focused marketing activity of many types in a defined period, and it's designed to sell a lot of books and build a lot of buzz for your book and for you as an author.
Good. And so, why is focusing on a book launch so important?
Well, it's important because, first of all, it's time to celebrate. If you're an author or you're in the middle of writing your first book, you know that it's a long process. It's a ton of work. You put your heart and soul into it, and it's time to celebrate. It's a time to recognize your achievement in the real world. You know, we as writers are working with something that is somewhat intangible, and to make it tangible or concrete in the world kind of births it into the world. So, you know, many of my authors, many people I talk to who are writers equate bringing a book into the world like giving birth. So it is just like that. You're taking something that you've been working on for a long, long time, that you've been creating and crafting and massaging and editing and reading maybe 100 times over, and then finally you're done and it's time to celebrate your hard work, and it's time to share that with others. So that's the first good reason, or first couple of good reasons. And at that time, you're probably never going to be more excited about your book than you are in that moment, because you've worked so hard and because you're putting your book out in the world. There's this great excitement around it. And because you're so excited, your energy is going to be up, and you're going to be able and wanting to market your book at that point. Also, media, magazines, newspapers, radio, TV, online sources, they prefer fresh news. Your book will only be new news once. And this is not to say that you can't promote your book or get press for your book a year down the road, 2 years down the road, or 3 years down the road. But the preference goes to new books. The media wants new information. They want what's new and fresh. So your book will only be news once. Consequently, it's really important to think about doing your launch when your book first is released. And then also, marketing works best when it's focused. When you put activity and energy into something in a defined period of time, then you're going to get the most out of it. Again, it's not to say that you shouldn't be marketing over the course of time, absolutely. But the launch is really important because it is going to establish how your book is going to sell in the first 30, 60, 90, 120 days, and perhaps longer on. So it is really important, especially on Amazon, in the first 30 days to get reviews, to get your marketing focused, and then you will see better sales in the coming months after that. So, by the way, if you or anybody listening has questions, feel free to ask them. I'll either answer them now if they're short, or if they require longer answers, or there's a lot of questions, I'll be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So you say marketing works best when focused, especially on Amazon. What about other platforms? Caballo, iBooks, Smashwords, etc.
Yeah, so we're getting into a philosophical question here. So remember that 60 to 70% of all books online are sold via Amazon. The next biggest platform is Barnes & Noble, and all the other guys kind of fight for the balance. So as a book launch, I would say focus on Amazon and don't worry about the other platforms. Once you've explored Amazon and its marketing tools, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes, then you can look at other platforms. But I don't see those other platforms as viable because they don't own as much of the market share and there's no marketing tools that are available like they are on Amazon.
Okay, and those first 30 days on Amazon, what's really important are the reviews?
Yeah, the reviews, I'll come to that, but reviews are really important. So once you get your book up, you want to get 7 to 10 reviews minimally. And you can get reviews from other writers, you can get them from colleagues, you can get them from friends and relatives. That's really important. And it's important because Amazon wants to see activity on their sales pages. And it's also important because when somebody goes to your book page and they see that other people are recommending it, it has a lot of social proof and power to influence people's decision to purchase. So the reviews are important both in the short term and the long term. And in the long term, you want to get 2 to 4 reviews a month over time, but in the first 30 days or so, we want to have at least 7 to 10 or more reviews up, and that will show that your book has some validity to people who are coming to your sales page.
Okay. So what are the elements of a successful book launch?
Okay. So first of all, I want to say you might want to write these things down if you have a pen or paper nearby, because I'm going to give you 12 or 13 things that are really effective for your book launch. It's not a complete list. There's other things that can be done, but these are primary tasks that you want to focus on. So first of all, it's really important to decide on a focused time frame. That time frame can be 2 weeks, it could be 30 days, it could be a little bit longer. I like 30 days because it's my understanding that Amazon uses a 30-day algorithm to look at the sales on a daily basis over those 30 days, and that's going to determine your rankings and how well your book is going to sell for the next 60 or 90 days. So I say 30 days is a really good amount of time, and you want to do at least something every day to drive people to your book site, whether it be your website and ultimately Amazon, or to Amazon directly. And then next, we want to get reviews on Amazon. We already talked about that. Then of course, social media is really important, and you want to start your social media well before your launch because you want to be building those relationships, you want to be building those numbers. If you're just started writing your book, that's wonderful. Now's the time to get involved with social media. If you have your book done, today's the best day to start with social media. There are some specific strategies. Francis, can I leak what we're doing here in the background?
Sure,
you and I?
absolutely.
Okay, so for the last 9 or 10 months, Francis and I have been working on a very in-depth a program on how to use social media for authors. And one of the components of that is a module on how to use social media to do a book launch. It's way too detailed to get into right now, but I want to mention it because in the next couple months we'll be launching our social media program for authors. So stay tuned for that. We're really excited about it. It's a very in-depth, complete program. There's nothing else quite like it, and we'll tell you more about that when the time comes. Did you want to add anything to that, Francis?
No, that was perfect.
Okay, thank you. All right, so press releases. You want to send press releases out to local, regional, and national media, both online and offline. So keep in mind that national publications, especially magazines, they have very long lead time, 4 to 6 months. Regional, again, magazines, same thing. But when you look at newspapers, you can probably get away with 3 or 4 weeks lead time. Of course, online media, it can happen really quick. So you can send a press release out today, it could show up online tomorrow. So you could be a week or 2 out to your online contacts that you develop. So if this all sounds new and overwhelming to you, you could Google how to create a press release, how to do public relations. You can do it on your own. You could hire somebody to help you. You could hire a PR expert to help you, and there's lots of options. But you should make some effort for that, because your local, especially with your local media, because they're interested in what's happening local, and the fact that you are coming out with a book, and if it has some particular timing to something that's happening in the world around us, all the more power it will have when it reaches an editor's desk. And then there's email lists. Probably one of the most important things that you as an author or as a business can do is build a database to build your own email list. And again, this is something that you want to start, today, if you haven't done this already. Whether you have a book out, or you're just thinking about writing a book, or you're working on your next book, building an email list is critical to the success and ease of marketing. And here's the reason why. Is because these people are fans. If they opt into an email list, you can build a relationship with them over time. So when you come out with your second, third, and fourth book, and you have a list of 5,000 fans, then you know some percentage of those people are going to buy your next book. Maybe it'll be 10%, maybe 500 of those 5,000 people will buy your book. Well, that's $10,000. If your book sells for $20, that's $10,000 in sales right there. So it's really, really important to build your email list. And again, this is something we could do a whole webinar just on how to build your email list, but I think that you can get the idea from what I'm saying, and if you want to know more about how to do that, you can just Google how to build an email list. And there's a lot of programs out there that'll help you do that, like iContact. I recommend MailChimp if you're just getting started, because it's free to start. You can have up to 2,000 names for free, and it's easy to use. And then there's more complicated and expensive types of programs that you can get involved with as your capacity to deal with them from a marketing perspective expands. Francis, do you use a email, a database service?
Absolutely. I use MailChimp, and I recently did a blog post explaining to people how to use MailChimp with detailed instructions. So
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I definitely recommend that as a way of getting started.
So I have a couple follow-up questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So in terms of reviews, do you think it's a good idea to send out advanced review copies in order to get reviews? I know some people will send out 200 advanced review copies to people who sign up. Well, I'm thinking of one author in particular who had this contract, in fact, that said, here's a PDF of my book. You agree to download the PDF if you agree to either feature my book on your blog or write a review on Amazon in the first 6 weeks.
Right. Well, we're talking about a couple of things there. One is reaching out to blogs, and the other is getting reviews. So when I think of getting reviews on Amazon, I'm thinking about just individuals purchasing the book and leaving a review. That's what I'm thinking about.
Right.
There's a couple things here. One might be that, and the other thing is getting a review on somebody's blog. So yeah, that certainly can be a useful thing to do, is to reach out to blogs. And you can see on the page at the bottom, I put identify top 100 blogs in your niche, send a press release, and notify them of any Amazon promotion. So what you can do is Google the top 100 blogs in your niche. So let's say my niche is tennis. I would just Google top 100 blogs in tennis. And then up would come, the top 100 blogs. And then I could grab those addresses and contact these people. That could be a little bit of work, but you could either do it yourself, or you could hire a virtual assistant or a personal assistant, at $10 or $15 an hour to do that kind of work for you. It's very procedural at this point, but it could have a lot of power, because if you're reaching the #1 blog, in the world for tennis, and they have 500,000 readers a week or something, then that has a lot of power. Plus the link back to either your website or Amazon is important for your SEO, for your search engine optimization.
How about having a launch team or a street team to help you launch?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I just had a client who had a physical book launch up in Santa Rosa, not far from you, a couple weeks ago, and she had a team of people helping her. She had people greeting, people sending out emails, people doing the catering, people following up. So having a team is a great idea for a book launch. because there is a lot of work involved, both in planning and in executing, and you know, it shouldn't stop you. It shouldn't be so overwhelming that you can't get it done. You know, so if you need to have some team around you, absolutely. Was there any other question?
Well, how about a launch team in terms of it's similar to my advanced review copy question, that this launch team can be anywhere in the world, and they get a PDF or a Mobi or EPUB, you know, their choice, and the understanding is that they get these free books because they'll write a review on Amazon. Do you think they work?
Yeah, it does. The value is not as good as having, look, we all must know, you know, 10 or 20 people who can leave reviews for us. So, you know, friends, relatives, colleagues, and it's better to have a book that is purchased than a review. It has more weight because when you go to Amazon, you see a little, I think it's like a little blue word or words that say verified purchased or verified, and that has more weight as a review than one that isn't. Both are good, you know, but I don't think you need to do that so much. And doing so, why would you have somebody, you know, in Czechoslovakia, you know, in particular, or in Poland, or in some other country around the world, do that? I mean, what would be the value of that? Would be my question. Why go there when you could easily get, you know, friends, neighbors, and relatives to do it for you?
Yeah. Do you ever consider doing free ebook giveaways as part of a book launch?
Yeah, actually, that's the next thing up on my list here. So, as some of you probably know, Amazon has a marketing program called the KDP giveaway, the Kindle Direct Publishing giveaway. So when you load your book up to Amazon, you're allowed, for a Kindle book, you have two options. You can go with Amazon Kindle or Amazon Select, Kindle Select. And Kindle Select gives you an opportunity to do this giveaway. And in this giveaway, you get 5 days to give away your book for free, your Kindle book for free, during the course of 90 days. So why do you want to do that? Well, number one, because you're going to get your book in the hands of people who would never get it before. And number two, you're going to drive your rankings really high if you do it right. So, and by driving your rankings really high, hopefully they'll stay there over the next few weeks as a result of a properly done giveaway. And what I see is that, you know, we need to give away, you know, 15,000, 16,000 books in order to make the thing effective. And there's ways to do that, and I'll be glad to talk to anybody, you know, after the webinar. You can send me an email at howard@letswritebooks.net, and I'll be glad to have that conversation with you. So the giveaway, I think, is kind of a very important part of a 30-day program where you're including Amazon. So I would say market strong for a couple weeks, and then do your giveaway for 5 days straight, and then in the last week of the month continue to market, and you'll have a good strong 30 days. The other thing that's on Amazon, another marketing tool that you can explore is pay-per-click advertising. So some of you listening know what pay-per-click advertising is. For those of you who don't, when you go to Google, on any Google page, on the right-hand side, you'll see advertising. That's sponsored advertising, and the advertiser doesn't pay for that advertising until somebody clicks on the advertisement, and then they're charged a fee, and it could be anywhere from 5 cents to $5 or more, depending on the competition for that keyword behind that ad. So Amazon offers this same kind of pay-per-click advertising, much less expensive than Google. Facebook also offers pay-per-click advertising. So all of this pay-per-click advertising is worth exploring, as long as you're not paying too much for it. Because let's say that your Kindle book is selling for $4.95, you're going to make 70% of that. If you're paying a nickel or a dime to get somebody to your ad page on Amazon, great. You know, I mean, to your sales page on Amazon, that's fine. But if you're spending $1 and you're making $2, that's not such a great thing. So you have to really weigh what your return on investment might be based on the cost per click. But it's worth trying, worth looking at, both on Amazon, on Facebook, and Google are all possible places to use pay-per-click advertising. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Francis?
No, that's good. We have some
Okay,
questions if you want.
great. Let's have
Might
them.
be
Sure.
interrupted.
No, go.
Okay, is it better to drive traffic to your blog's book launch page or directly to Amazon?
Well, I think it's better to drive them to Amazon because Amazon's going to help sell your book if they see that you're working to sell your book. If you're not working to sell your book on Amazon and the sales aren't great there, but they're good on your website, if they're good enough on your website, fine. I mean, the bottom line is we want to sell books, but the #1 place to sell books online is Amazon. So I usually advise my authors to push towards Amazon, to use the link, the sales page on Amazon, because most people aren't going to be involved on a daily basis marketing to their website. Now, with that being said, I think a nice thing to do is to drive people to your website, but link the sale of your book to Amazon.
Okay, there's another question.
Sure.
I'm not really sure how a physical book launch works. Is that at a bookstore or somewhere else?
Yeah, a physical book launch could be at a bookstore, although I really don't recommend bookstores per se as the physical environment, but it could be at a community center, it could be at your office, it could be at a church or community center, a library, any venue where there's a physical environment where you're there and you're selling books. I mean, basically, you're going to be there talking a little bit about why you were inspired to write the book, maybe a little bit about your process, maybe you'll talk a little bit about what's inside the book, or maybe you'll have a short reading from inside the book, and you'll have some refreshments, maybe somebody can come and speak for you, maybe the mayor can come, or you have a friend who's a musician who could come play a song or two, or somebody who's semi-famous. That could add some excitement to what's going on. You can invite media, and you invite everybody you know to come to the physical book launch, and then you could sell your books. So if you'd like to know more about that, send me an email, and I have an audio, a free audio that I'd be glad to give you that tells you more about how to do that. So it's howard@letswritebooks.net, and I'd be glad to send it your way. Okay?
Cool.
Any more questions?
Yes, we do. From
All right.
Leanne Garms. But how do you build your list if you send them directly to Amazon?
Ah, really good question. So the answer is that inside your book, there's a couple ways. So let's say that you're blogging or posting on social media. You can offer some content. Maybe it's the free first chapter of your book, or maybe like going back to the idea of writing a book on tennis. Maybe you create a little report that says the 10 of the biggest mistakes beginning tennis players make, and you offer that on your website, and people come to your website, and you'll have a little opt-in form, which I'm sure you've seen on hundreds of sites, where people leave their first name and their email address, and then they hit submit, and then they get a link to your report, and that's one way to do it. Another way is on your blog. Another way is in the book itself. So when you do your book, you'll be adding an offer inside as a bonus. Maybe you'll offer multiple offers. So I like to see my authors having at least one offer inside the book that could drive people back to their website where people can opt in, and the author can be building their lists. Now, there's many ways to build lists. And for example, we're doing a webinar today, and we now have built our list because we're doing a webinar. So when you're out speaking, you could offer people something if they give you their email address. So if you Google how to build a database or ways to build an email list, in addition to the ones that I've just mentioned, you'll find lots and lots of ways to do that. And once you get started, you'll find that there's some ways that work really, really well to do that. But the important thing is to definitely get started doing that and organized in doing that, because that will help your future quite a bit as an author. Probably one of the most important things I can tell you for your future, for your career as an author, is to build an email list. Okay?
I have a few questions myself.
Okay.
So you mentioned press releases. I haven't had much luck with press releases. Have you had much luck with press releases?
Yes and no. So press releases, when you say you haven't had much luck with them, I don't know what your press release said. I don't know who you sent it to. I don't know what it was for. You know, there's a lot that can go into it. You know, the timing of it. But it's worth a shot. I mean, the reality is that there's, you know, thousands of media content out there, many of which are looking for new content and new information. A lot of it's timing, you know. A lot of it's about the way the press release has been written. How have you followed up? And, you know, what media have you gone after? I could probably tell you that if you send, you know, an email announcement of your book to, I don't know, to Oprah, you know, there's probably 10,000 others that are doing that every day. But if you could get really niched, you know, and go to smaller publications, maybe you'll have a little bit more success. So, you know, to say one thing is going to work particularly well over the other, sometimes we can say that. When it comes to press releases and public relations, there's no guarantees. You know,
Right.
But it is something that's worth a shot, because A, if you do it yourself, it's free, and you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
And then we have a question from Stephen Campbell.
Sure.
I wrote and published my book in 2010 and have sold 9,000 copies. It is also in an audio format, 4 CDs. And I treat the Audible version, can I treat the Audible version as a new event, even though the printed version is almost
I've lost you.
10 years old? Did you lose me?
I can't, I didn't hear you. We broke up.
Okay, well, let me try it again.
Okay.
I wrote and published my book in 2010 and have sold 9,000 copies. It is also in the audio format and Kindle format, and last week it became available on Audible. Can I treat the Audible version as a new event, even though the printed version is almost 10 years old?
Well, you can't treat it as a new advance because it's not a new book, but it's a new form. So in that respect, it can be news. You know, you could do a press release around the fact that the audiobook of this highly successful book is now available and send that out. That could be news. It could be the reason to do some public relations. And then also all these things you could relaunch. You know, you could get focused on your advertising and make the audiobook part of that and kind of relaunch your book as a result of it. And I spoke actually with Steve. Steve is a client of mine, and we spoke last week about this and how to go about doing that using some tools from Amazon and others. But basically, yes, you could absolutely treat it as a launch, but it's not a new advance. It's just another form. And for that reason, it could be news. And it could be a reason for you to go back to all those places where people have bought books and let them know the audiobook is available. You know, if you got, 9,000 sales, and I know you've been working at this for a while, Steve, you could be building a nice email list. The first thing I would do is just let my email list know that the audiobook is available, because there's many people that want that. They want to be able to listen to audiobooks, and audiobooks are hot right now. Some people don't have the time or inclination to read a book and want it in audio form. More and more of us are highly mobile and reading and looking at stuff on our computers or our smartphones or on our tablets, and audiobooks are ideal for reaching people that way. And more people are buying things via their phones or their tablets, and that's a great way to go. So first of all, I salute you, congratulate you on your audiobook. Why don't you tell us, Steve, can you tell us the name of it? Francis, would you read the name of this book? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just waiting for him to respond.
I see.
We have another question. Want to take that?
Sure.
While we
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a long one. So I'm planning to launch a free short story collection. This is from Mike Sano.
Okay.
Short story collection as a lead magnet for anyone who joins my email list. It would come from my own publishing company direct to the reader. I don't use Amazon KDP, so my Amazon sales are through Ingram Spark. Would it make sense to do this type of freebie without making it available to the general public? In other words, it's free to all, but you can only get it by joining my list. My hope is that I enroll people with these free stories and they'll want to buy one or more of my novels.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that he can do, that Mike can do that could be really effective is to take that book, cut it in half. I don't know how long it is, but let's say we cut it in half and we put it up on Amazon as a Kindle book, and then make it free on another platform. And then Amazon will match that price, and your book will be free, and it will be free on Amazon and other platforms, and then you could be using those platforms as a lead magnet.
Yeah, just a footnote here. Amazon doesn't consider Smashwords another platform. You'd have to put it on iBooks and Google Play.
Okay, great.
And the name of Stephen Campbell's book is Making Your Mind Magnificent.
Yeah, so Stephen sold over 9,000 copies of this book, which is just wonderful. Congratulations, Steve. Wow. This is a great book. It is an awesome book, and if this interests you at all, I highly recommend that you go to Amazon and take a look at it and buy it, because there's tons and tons of great information in there that will help you in many aspects of your life. So I give it my endorsement because I know this book, I've read it, I've worked on it, and I know Steve, and this is the real deal. So go check it out.
We have more questions.
Yeah, let me get through the rest of this list, and then I'll take those questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, so another thing you can do to sell books is to create a webinar, a teleseminar, or both. Also line up speaking engagements, and those could be, you know, as simple as speaking at your community center, your library, local business organizations, at your local church or synagogue, any place that you might think of to get out in front. One of the best ways to sell books is to be in front of an audience, because if people like what you're saying, they're going to want your book. It'll just be that simple. So I would highly recommend that you line up some speaking engagements. Of course, speaking isn't for everyone, but be brave, step up, and get out there, and you'll be amazed at what will happen. Also want to talk about book marketing sites. So if you were to Google www.readers-in-the-know.com/list-of-book-promotion-sites, it's right here. You don't have to write it down, but I wanted to read it. You'll find a list of 100 sites that promote books. Now, not all of them are useful. Some of them are. Just remember that you get what you pay for. So, but you might want to check that out, because there are a few sites there that are very effective at both promoting books when they first come out, and then also when you do your KDP giveaway, you're going to want to use some of those services to help get the word out about your free book. So check that out. I think you'll be glad you found that webpage. And then finally, this is a beginning list in my mind. You know, these are the things that I would say are first and common to all of us, that most of us can do, but there's other things that can be done, and we don't want to limit what you can do. So I would say, what else can you think of that could be helpful in marketing your book? Keep asking yourself that question, and you'll be surprised what answers that you come up with. Okay,
that's great.
We have some more questions.
We most certainly do.
Okay.
So this is from Richard Roberts. And Richard says, as a self-published novelist, if book one of a three-book series is complete, I don't know if you can hear me when I lean away like that.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
So as a self-published novelist, if book one of a three-book series is complete, but book two is just an outline phase, should I launch one book? Should I launch book one now to capitalize on summer season, or wait until book two is closer to completion?
How
so
far
what some
out?
people, so what some people like to do is they like to launch their series one after the other, like within a week of each other.
Yeah. How far out is he from the second book?
September, October.
Yeah, I think it would be okay to do that now. and have people opt in for the second. You know, you can do a pre-publication Kindle book 90 days out. So you can put that up and make that available on Amazon 90 days before your book is actually ready. So there's that option. I guess the thing that I would be concerned about is if it was a year away or 2 years away. I think having your books closer to each other has a lot of power. So, you know, for example, if you promote heavily for 30 days, and then you take a little break and you come back and promote your second book heavily for 30 days, you know, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck that way, because you're going to be a very intense period over the course of 60 or 90 days. I think could have a lot of value if it's done right. It'd be okay to wait a little bit of time, but I wouldn't wait too long, especially if the you know, let's say that you gave your first book 60 or 90 days and then its sales start to come off, slow down a little bit, then you come back with your second book. I think that would be fine.
Okay, and here is a question from Terry Anzer.
Yep.
What tips do you have for a first-time author starting from scratch? Books are a young adult historical action adventure trilogy ebook only.
I'm not sure that I understand the question. What tips do I have?
For a first-time author
Well, I
starting
mean,
from scratch.
Well, I guess that's such a broad question. It's really hard for me to answer that, not knowing exactly where she is with her writing and what she wants to achieve and what she's capable of, what resources she has, you know, what her plans for her career are. That's such a big question. My answer to you is a little flip, and that is just take note of everything I talked about today, and then review that and see what makes sense to you and start to implement that. So start your social media now. Start building your emailing list now. Think about where you want to be as an author in 3 to 5 years, and then work backwards from there in terms of the books that you're going to create and what your marketing is going to look like. Create a plan for yourself. And that's a really big question. So that's the best I can do within the scope of this webinar without having a long conversation with her.
Okay.
But I appreciate the question.
And Stephen Campbell noted that Rotaries are always looking for speakers. That's a great place for nonfiction authors especially.
Yes, absolutely. Good point,
And then
Steve.
Kat Sundin asks, what if my niche is a mixture of visionary fiction, romance, mystery, and self-development? Do I promote it as the main niche or a mixture?
Oh, that's a great question. It's something, again, I don't mean to put that off, but that's a complex question, and I'd have to think about it. I can't give an answer to that in this moment.
That's fair. And I have a question. You mentioned that if you're in KDP Select, you promote your book for 5 days.
Yeah.
Some people do it for 3 and then 2, they break it up.
Yeah. Well, I think 5 days works best
Okay.
because remember, we're looking for high rankings for 30 days. We're looking for as
Right.
many downloads as possible in a 30-day period. I mean, there is the strategy of, okay, I'm going to use 3 days now, and then I'll come back, you know, in 30 days or in a month and a half and use the other 2 days. But what I have found is that when you come back, it's never going to be as successful as the first time. So each time you use KDP Select, within a certain amount of time, the results start to diminish considerably. So, you know, I would say to you, do the 5 days in a row, make it really successful, and then you'll get the results from that. That's really the best way to go. Otherwise, it will be diluted.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on because
Yeah.
we're coming up on an hour. Do you have another question for me from us?
No, it's just Terry Anzer said things to reinforce that what he's doing is on target.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. So here are some goals for you. One is to sell as many books as possible in the first 30 to 90 days. Have a formal written marketing plan. This is really important because without that, any idea to launch your book is just going to be a warm fuzzy. And then work the plan. And if you need help, both in the planning and the execution, absolutely get it. We talked about that earlier. Francis had the suggestion of having a book launch team. I think that is a splendid idea. And then start planning your launch early, months in advance. So when that time comes, you know exactly what you're doing, everything's in place, and you're off to the races. You'll have a very successful launch. Okay, so here are some common mistakes that people make when it comes to a book launch, and I call them common mistakes, or how to make your book disappear. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't do anything, or if you don't have a plan and nothing gets done, your book will literally do that. It'll just disappear. You'll put it up, or you'll put it out, you'll sell 50 or 100 copies to your friends and relatives, and that'll be the end of it. And if that's what you want, that's fine. I mean, everybody writes for different reasons. Some people are writing because they want to make a living ultimately in time off their book. Some people are writing for generating leads. Some people are writing for themselves. And if you're one of those people, great. You know, if you don't care how many books you sell, that's fine. You know, it's absolutely honorable to just do a book for the doing a book's sake. That's fine. But understand that if you don't do anything, then you won't have any sales. And by all means, if you don't ask for help, then you won't be able to, and when you need it, then you won't be able to have the guidance you need to make a successful book launch. So these are common mistakes that people make. Do we have any more questions?
We do.
All right.
The fourth book in my Amy series is due to go to my editor in a couple of days. What month is the best one to publish? June, July, or August?
Well, it depends. Now, I think any month is a good month to publish, almost any month. But it depends on your niche and what your publisher's plans are for marketing the book, what your plans are for marketing the book. Did she say what her niche was? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so I don't know. You know, summer is a really good time for romance, and summer reads, maybe science fiction. But honestly, I think any time could be a good time if the book is a good book and you're doing your marketing. So it's hard for me to say without knowing more on what's going on with the other books and what she's done to build a list and, you know, a fan base.
Okay. Stephen Campbell asks, can you use KDP Select to give away your Audible book?
Great question, Steve. So indirectly, yes. So when you go to an Amazon sales page, you will see the different forms of your book all kind of synced up on that sales page. So you'll see the Kindle book is there, the paperback book is there. If you have a hard copy version of the book, you'll see that there. And then if you have an audiobook, it will show that also. And then the viewer could select which format they want. So the idea is to get as many eyeballs as possible on that Amazon sales page. And one way to do that is with that with the KDP giveaway program, because we can drive 15 to 20,000 people over that 5-day period to that book page. And as a result, not only will you have KDP download, the Kindle book downloaded, but we can also get paperback books sold, and we can also get more audiobooks sold that way. So yes, it's a really good point. You can use the KDP giveaway to market your audiobook.
Ah, that's interesting. I'm glad he asked.
Yeah.
Okay. Richard Roberts says, how would you recommend pricing my first book, 30,000 word novel book, one of a 3-book series, 99 cents or $1.99, etc.? Do you have any sense of the price volume relationship? What percentage more I'll sell?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can't tell you exactly. I can just give you this information. It's good to have a series. I congratulate you on that. That's a really valuable thing to do. Secondly, the average Kindle book sells for $4.95. The number of books versus the amount of money you'll make, the sweet spot is usually around $2.99 to $3.99 in terms of price to sales. So going below that for any length of time I'm not sure. You know, you would have to look at your book in relationship to other books that are like that. So what are other top-selling books selling for that are about the same length and same genre? So look at what your competition is doing, or who you view as your competition, and then you might want to be a little bit less. Remember, you're a new author, and you can experiment with how sales are going. So you could start at, say, $2.99 or $3.99. Now remember that when your Kindle book is priced between $2.99 and $9.99 on Amazon, you're going to get 70% as a royalty payment. When your book is priced below $2.99 or over $9.99, you're only going to get 35%. So you're not going to make very much money at $1.99. And I realize that you're thinking that you're probably going to use this to establish a list. But you might start at $2.99 and see how sales go. And then you can play with dropping the price or increasing the price depending on sales. The nice thing about Kindle and marketing on Amazon is that you could change your price daily if you want to. So I would say start with the price, stay with it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then if your sales are good, great. If they're not good, then you can drop the price down for another 2 or 3 weeks and see what happens. So you have an opportunity to test it live and see what happens. Just make sure in your book that you are offering some bonuses to drive people back to your website where you can capture their email address and name, so when you have your second book, you can let them know that this book is available, or the same thing for the third book. That would be really essential.
That's good. Lucinda Clark says that her book is action adventure.
Okay.
She had asked the question about the Amy series.
Remind me of the question. I'm sorry.
Her previous question was the 4th book in her Amy series is due to go to her editor in a couple of weeks. Which month was the best to publish?
Well, I think that's a discussion she should have with her publisher. Is she self-publishing or is she going with traditional publishing?
I don't know. I thought she was self-publishing.
Okay. Well, I think that, yeah, it could be great to have that book out in June, and if she has opportunity, I mean, we're not that far from June. I mean, we're only like 30 days away. If she has enough time to put together a solid marketing plan, I would say absolutely go for it.
And Jill Johnson has a question. If you publish through Ingram Spark and CreateSpace, can you do KDP offers? No.
No, if you're publishing, you can publish a paperback through Ingram and Spark at the same time, but you can't put your Kindle book up through Ingram and do the KDP direct. So the only way you can do the KDP giveaway is to upload it yourself directly, and I would highly recommend you do that anyways, because you're going to have more control over your book and what you do with it by doing that.
So Howard, why don't you describe for us your most successful book launch that you've handled?
Sure. So actually what's interesting is that it was a relaunch. So I had a client that was referred to me by a friend of both of ours, Elisa Tenner, and who was a great book editor and book developer. And there was this lovely book that unfortunately, or fortunately, it was very well written, but the title and the subtitle were way off in terms of the keywords that are necessary to be found on Amazon, and then also for the categories of the book, and that was way off also. So it was a spiritual novel about life and death based on some real life experiences. Very, very charming book, and we repackaged it. In other words, we wrote the description. The cover design was actually pretty good, but we retitled it, chose new keywords, recategorized that, and then did a KDP giveaway, and we sold almost 1,000 books in 30 days. So wow. Yeah, that was pretty exciting to do on Amazon. So that, I think, was the most successful launch I've been involved in.
Very good.
Yeah. So for everybody who's still on, and those of you that might be hearing this for the first time, I'd like to offer you a bonus, a free bonus, 9 ways to make money from your book that you probably haven't thought of. And all you have to do to get this is go to my website, letswritebooks.net. You can scroll down to the bottom of any page, and you'll see a little opt-in form. And you just put your name and your email, and you'll get a link to this report on ways to make money from your book that you probably haven't thought of. Also, if you have any questions of me that you'd like to follow up with, I'll be glad to do that. You can reach me at howard@letswritebooks.net. And Frances, I guess if people want, I don't think have you explained exactly what you do and how you do it?
What I do?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I handle social media for authors. I do a range of things. I can teach you how to use it. I can set you up on social media and then teach you how to use it. I can do a social media audit for you to basically review all your social media sites and let you know what you're doing great and what needs improvement. Or I can take social media off your plate entirely and handle your social media for you. And that's what
great.
I do.
That's great. And if you wanted to do a book launch with you, could you do that?
With you, I could. Two of us working together, I would handle the social media aspect and you would handle the other aspect.
Great, great. So if any of you are looking to have that kind of support, we're available for you. Are there any last minute questions before we close?
Let me see. Jill Johnson. Does that answer apply if I'm also publishing a paperback, or do the paperback through the POD publishers and the ebook through KDP? A little confused.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the question was before that or what I said before that, but yeah. I think what she's referring to is that was she asking about whether it's okay to use Ingram and CreateSpace? Yes. Exactly. Yeah, it's fine to use both of them to do your paperback book, to do your POD. That's absolutely fine. Remember, the thing that you're going to need to do with Ingram, though, is tell them that your book is on CreateSpace and that you want to select Amazon only. When you at CreateSpace, you select Amazon only as your distribution channel. And then you let CreateSpace and Ingram know what you're doing so that there isn't a crossover and you don't end up with two files on Amazon. So you use Ingram for all other channels of distribution. If you're going to use CreateSpace also, then you let CreateSpace know what you're doing.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Are we done?
Thank you so much. Well,
yeah,
thank you so much to Howard for being my guest today, and thank you everybody who attended and asked questions and was so participatory in this system. Just thank you for being here with us. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, and so I'm just so appreciative of everyone who participated today. Thank you, Frances, for having me on today. I really appreciate being here, and I appreciate all the good questions that came, and I appreciate all the hard work that goes into writing a book and marketing a book, and I relate to all the questions, and have been down the road myself many times. So again, thank you all for your good questions and being here, and we hope to see you again sometime. All right. And we're off the air. Thanks so much. Thanks. Bye now.